is in the war as we currently have it in Nigeria. Now, General, there is this notion, and you know, you harped on it earlier, that Nigerian people would rather dread, would rather fear the Nigerian military because some, you know, pockets of human rights abuses all over the place, and the way some of them proceed themselves. I was like a year ago in Againt. I attended a conference put up by the Nigerian Army, and it's, you know, and I think they're having it in every regions of the country, you know, to show the people that yes, we do more than carry guns, and we intervene in, you know, possibly in providing interventions on infrastructure, on you know, even in the health sector as well, that they do a lot, and Nigerian people should support them. But most of the questions from that point is, sometimes, you know, they say when you see something, say something. And we have seen situations in the Northeast where some community, you know, were being punished, quote unquote, were being punished because some of the men there saw something and then gave information to the military, and then some of those bandits were neutralized, only for those guys to regroup later, and they came back full force. I'm sure you remember the rice farmers that were killed. They were not just killed, they were decapitated, scattered, and they told the community it was because of what you said. How do we manage this information that the people who are ready to give information, they don't fear, you know, and they know that whatever they have given, they will be protected and they won't be punished by these criminals who will wait. It can take them a year. They will come back and wreak those havoc. In that kind of situation, what can the people do?
Thank you very much. And that's not related only to military operations. It's related to crime generally. Even if we do the same with the police, be sure of likely reprisals if there's no adequate protection or very good use of information in such a way that the source is not traceable. What the civilians are in this instance, they are sources. And the military ordinarily, by strategic designs, know that they have a responsibility to protect their sources, both in physical terms and in the management of the information. In that instance, it means both the user and the giver of this information have some responsibility. The civilians will have dispatched their own, but you know, terrorists are peculiar people. Sometimes they even just, the essence, when you talk of that decapitation, very unfortunate and very painful, the essence will send some fear so that these people will never imagine in their lives that they will cooperate with the military. But compared to the two, anytime, any day, they are safer with their military than with terrorists. When we have this consideration, both of us, and I'm trying to balance it here now, both of us, both the military and the civilians will be discreet and wise in the management of information. Like I said, to ensure that the source is protected both physically and in terms of the use of information, so that it's not easily traceable to the civilians. Many times these terrorists equally just imagine that there's no way the military will know our movement. It's not that these people told them. So it's part of the unfortunate, do I say, collateral damage that we have to face. But it is unfortunate, and I think that well-trained military will not deliberately endanger their sources in terms of the civilian population. Neither will the civilian populations be more comfortable with terrorists than with their own trained men and women.
All right, General. Still talking about civilian-military relations in Nigeria, there are quite a lot of reports. I have some reports here in front of me from the Human Rights Watch and also Reuters. I have two reports from Reuters, but I wouldn't like to go into the reports because interestingly, the Nigerian military denied most of those reports. But again, we need to look into this. There have been cases of serious human rights abuses leveled against Nigerian military. I mean, instances of human rights abuses, and the few ones we've seen. Quite all right, you said the situation has improved, but what can be done to make it better? Because sincerely, some citizens of Nigeria feel oppressed by the military that is supposed to be protecting them. So in a situation when, citizens in some quarters feel they are not even safe with the military, it's a psychological thing. General, what do you think can be done to improve this? Not only on the part of the civilians, on the part of the military. Do we have is there something that can be done in terms of training when they are being trained? Because military men can actually be highly trained, highly professional, and still be civil to civilians, be nice to civilians. When you want to do your show of force, you do it with the terrorists, with the bandits, with the bad guys. So can't we have a well-trained military who are still civil, who are still nice to the Nigerian citizens? What can be done in that regard?
Well, you are very correct, particularly in the last remarks you made about the military can be well-trained and still be civil. In fact, there's no well-trained military that will not be civil. That's why we call them gentlemen officers. And I don't want to appear to be indicting another side, but incrementally, you need to see how the system deals with infringement of human rights. It's officially not even condoned. So if there are exceptions, it may not be the best to generalize those exceptions. The military has consciously been craving better relationship and understanding with the populace. Certainly there are exceptions which are attitudinal. And in such exceptions, the system is not expected to take it kindly. And what we will also think and complement this on the other side is to be accommodating. I don't want to say respectful, but accommodating and considerate of a person who is understanding, operating under a very challenging circumstance, like I mentioned earlier, somehow facing operational trauma. When you have seen your colleague just died and somebody is coming to, just try to provoke you further, the reaction might not be very good. And such exceptions are taken as if it is, institutional to always demean the civilians. All right. It's not always the case.
All right. So I have two questions.
So any well-trained military will respect civilians. All right.
General, I have two questions from my end here. And number one is this. Recently, in fact, let me start with this one, since we are still on the military and the civilian relationship, that most of your men, and I mean the military men, they feel entitled, and I'll give instances, that they come to a public place and they want to have the right to be served first, even if they are the last to be on that queue. They go to ATM points, they don't honor the people that are there. Respect is supposed to be reciprocal. For instance, again, I'll give you an example. I wouldn't mind, like, I'll be on a queue, even if I'm the number one, I'll see people in uniform. It would be my joy to call them and say, officer, please come and do your work. We should applaud you. I want to go to a bar or a restaurant and see them eating, and if I have the money, pay for them to say, I love you, thank you for protecting us. You bought a car with them, you are sitting at the front, they tell you to get down. This entitlement spirit that they carry makes people not to respect them. They rather dread them. They rather hate that attitude. What is the military doing? Instead of you forcing people to say, you must give me the pride of place, why don't you allow the people to say, please come on, do your work and go? It's still happening. These are the issues.
I thank you very much. You are correct to some extent, but I dare say that those unfortunate circumstances you narrated are exceptions. And I keep emphasizing that a well-trained military officer will be respectful to comport himself, although occasionally that is also taken advantage of. it's not just in this country. I mean that people naturally want to respect the military. You go overseas. I mean, if you're in America, for instance, you don't need to demand it.
Exactly.
The people, you don't demand it, and naturally, knowing that you are either a military veteran or still in service, the American feels that you are his and he wants to acknowledge you. I have boarded planes in the US on the basis of saying, oh, he's a veteran, please let him go before others. Without demanded. And no well-trained officer would want to force himself on anybody. And but we also know that very civil Nigerians also love to show appreciation to that. You look at an aircraft in one of these airlines, for instance, if they are calling boarding, they will first of all say, military veterans or militaries on what side, please come and board. You don't even demand it. And where the other airlines don't have that, I don't think it's possible or decent for a military officer to say, I will not queue here.
But that's what happens, General. That's what some of them around do.
Some of them are exceptions, I can assure you. Somebody like me will never do that. And many other senior officers who are well trained will never do that.
And the argument has been maybe some of these junior officers that do that, and that possibly the older ones will never do that. But because of time, my second question is this. There have been this concern. It was reported, I think like 3 days ago or so, that recruitment is on right now, possibly the Nigerian Army. And somebody came out to say why Kaduna State has 3,000 applications right now in the ongoing recruitment. The entire Southeast has less than 200. And Brigadier General Chima Ikato, the leader of the Nigerian Army Force Headquarters Recruitment Sensitization Team in Anambra, is the one who expressed that concern. Does it have anything to do with civilian-military relationship? A state, Kaduna, having 3,000 applications as of last week. The entire 5 states of the Southeast has 200. What's the problem here?
Can we relate it to the population in this area? And that's one factor. There's also the factor of, enlightenment, understanding, the desire to pursue a career in the military. I think if you look at Kaduna, for instance, you see that the military is large in that environment in terms of training and facilities. It is not unlikely that they have come to appreciate the import of pursuing a career in the military. That could be an explanation. I say it could be an explanation. Compared to a place where people think that, no, our concern is to pursue things in the area of academics and other area. That element of social psychology also plays a role. But it is there. And you compare that also with Southwest. In most of these places in Nigeria, we even have a lot of applicants and a lot of pressure of people wanting to join the military. At the point, we even said that almost every young Nigerian wants to be in the military. Some of them for craving the glamour of the work. And when the work comes, they now see it's more demanding. So I think it's related to the various environments, maybe in terms of the population, as well as the access of to military facilities and appreciation of the import of military service.
All right, General. We're running out of time, but just before we go, I would like to ask you this. Your opinions in some quarters that majority of the terrorist groups we have in Nigeria were actually formed by politicians for their own selfish motives. Then after some time, they become uncontrollable. The politicians can no longer control them. These groups become monsters and they turn to terrorist groups and bandit groups. What's your opinion to that? That's number one. Number two, what can be done? What can the Nigerian government do? Do you see the Nigerian government defeating terrorism and banditry in the nearest future? And what can be done to achieve that?
Well, the first opinion is substantially correct. I say substantially, it may not be totally so, but substantially it is correct in the fact that they breed these monsters. Unfortunately, many times they now have to manage it when they have got the power. And they leave it to others to start managing. When I say monsters, most of the small arms in circulation were procured and given to thugs. The thugs metamorphose into terrorists, and they rampage all over the place. There may be one number in the north, but they are also there in southwest. They are also there all over the place. When you arm an army of thugs, they are potential terrorists. And until we get to the level of orientation where people get to know that you don't have to pursue political power through violence of having your own army in whatever shape or size. Until people get that orientation that they need to stop that, it will continue to be a recruiting ground for potential terrorists. That is that. And then maybe at the risk of sounding repetitive and going back to what I said earlier, my own position on how we can curb this overwhelming and embarrassing security situation is that we should consider the clamor of Nigerians, including our revered General Danjuma, and moderate the use of arms. The arms in circulation are too much. Unfortunately, they are one-sided. So that could be a concern of the federal government. But let the federal government devise a means to ensure that the subnationals are equally empowered to some extent to combat insecurity in their locality.
We must go, General, but when you said the arms in the nation is one-sided, how do you mean? If you can do that in 15 seconds.
Yeah, in the sense that the circulation of small arms, all the criminals that are roaming around the place carrying either AK or pistols, the number is much, but it's in the hand of criminals.
All right.
And the decent Nigerians are now at their mercy.
All right.
And to that, we need a lot of effort to curtail that imbalance.
All right.
And that could be what makes the general to say, let everybody defend himself.
All right. Former Director of Defense Information in Nigeria, Major General Chris Olukolade, retired. We must sincerely thank you for your time and your take. It's been a very engaging one today. Thank you, General, for your time and your take. And of course, we know, I'm sure you believe as well, that Nigeria will overcome this. Thank you.
Thank you for the privilege, and thank you, viewers, for spending this time with us.
Right.
I wish the Western Spring Television great strides, and congratulations for what you are doing.
Thank you
for our country.
Thank you, General, and happy Easter to you as well.
I wish you the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This will be the size of the conversation today. Is about securing this nation called Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. A big thank you to you staying with us, for all this while. You can have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. Happy Easter to you all, and big shout out to the production team that put this together. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of this program where we'll, delve into something very differently. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you join us on the program today. Special thanks to you. Yes, you, our viewer. We really appreciate you. Emeka Daniel is my name. Do join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition. And of course, special thanks to the production team. Good morning and have a wonderful day. Happy Easter to you once again.